Check now if I can get the music on for you as well. I think there is a button, and we are live. Let's just quickly check here, everything's sorted. Okay. Your gain is quite high, so I think what you can do is if you're not talking, to mute.
Okay, cool.
Not that it's a bad thing, but just it's picking up.
Yeah, I know it's chilled. I mean, it's quite easy to literally just mute it on the screen quickly.
Okay, good morning. Hussein, hope you're well. Just a mic check. Just want to check that the music is good and that you guys can hear gigs. So we obviously just want to get that sorted. We can just maybe get Mo as well to just do a little sound check there for us and get that sorted. Hope everyone's doing well. Thursday, the 17th of what month are we? August. Pretty interesting week. I think for the most part we've had some decent moves. Almost want to say like the moves have been a little bit delayed, but nonetheless. So nothing really major on deck today in terms of fundamentals. We've got initial jobless claims, so that's mid-tier folder coming up later this afternoon. And I think Keats mentioned on Friday we've actually have quite a light day with not too much going on. Let's actually quickly check Friday to see what we've got for the rest of the week. Yeah, Friday just...
How does that sound? Just testing. Good.
Mo, how's the audio with the music? All good? Just want to make sure. Sounds good. Okay, sweet. Okay, so nothing really to look out for today in terms of economic data. Gonna start off with DXY, Audible. So all good balance, sweet. Thanks so much, man. DXY, let's quickly look at the DXY. We've already discussed this on the weekly time frame. We are bullish. That was our outlook from the start of the week. We've basically broken through this prior area of flat body resistance. We're currently at these wicks. This was a previous swing high point, so very interesting level we're currently trading at for DXY. And ideally what I want to see today is we're going to go with the trend up until tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. So I'm not going to shift my bias now, even though we're trading into quite a sensitive point on DXY. Because if you look left, prior area of support turned resistance, had two tests on this level. So it is quite a key level that we've traded into. We also have some rejections currently, but I'm going to go with the daily. Could be a pullback today, but still gonna remain bullish on the day and just marking out our levels for this morning on DXY. Currently trading below the Asia lows, and I should actually template this while we go ahead. So Asia lows and then just the Asia highs for us to have a look at where we are going for the rest of the day. So bullish on the day, bullish on the week. Do not necessarily expect us to just reverse today, so I'm going to try and continue with that trend that we've got. I actually want to quickly template this. Alright, so what I'm liking is that we are currently trading below the Asia lows, so once we regain it, something similar to what we did yesterday, traded below the Asia lows and then regained it and then started trading higher for the rest of the day. Also currently above the daily pivot, so still bullish while we above the daily pivot, and either pull all the way back to the pivot, or we're gonna just pull back, I would say up until 103.37 and then regain the Asia lows for the most part, but that is what I'm looking out for. Gold started off the week with our bias as bearish. Just want to show you guys again, remember we mentioned that we basically below the weekly pivot also broke below this prior area of flat body support. Our initial target was the wick fill at 1895. We've already filled that wick. How deep we can go down, that's still to be seen. All the way potentially to 1866. Looks quite a bit far off, but if you look at the weekly, this weekly's got no bottom wick. And somewhere along the line, price is going to come down to create a wick for that weekly candle. Something similar to what happened here. You can see no bottom wick, and price came all the way down to create a bottom wick and fill those orders that weren't filled. So I'm going to go on a limb here and say potentially maybe not this week, but maybe next week, 1866, that could be a potential target to the downside. And jumping down to the 5 minute, currently trading above Asia highs, starting to see some bullish pressure on the AD, and for the most part what I want to see us do if we are going to go bearish is I want to see the AD starting to flip to the downside, start flipping bearish, trading back inside of the Asia range, and can start taking positions from there. If we come back late in the session, retest the Asia highs and hold, we could potentially look for some short-term buying opportunities. But if we reject the daily pivot level at 1897, come back inside of the Asia range, I would look for bearish continuation. Other than that, Asia high seems to be our anchor point for this morning. That is where we'll be looking to enter our trades from. So that is gold. USDs are bullish. There's no two ways about it. How far we're gonna go, that's still to be seen. What I do want to do this morning potentially is look for some buys from these Asia lows. We are above the daily pivot as well, and I'm going to actually monitor this for us to get a buy from these Asia lows. Maybe tap into the pivot level, come back inside of the Asia range, and then I'll execute. So if we get something like that, I'm more than happy to take a punt on it. We're above 19, and I want to see if we can come and take out these Asia highs. So I'm just going to set an alert here for us around about 1918, and that could be a very quick move to the upside. So let's see if we can hold the pivot and get back above the Asia lows. GBP USD weekly is bearish. Yesterday was bullish. Today I'm also bullish again. due to the fact that yesterday's candle closed back inside the range. And just looking at where we can potentially go, we've got this wick to fill, yesterday's wick, and then we've got this area at 127.84 as potential upside targets. So going back on the weekly, I just want to grab a look at the weekly time frame. Early in the week, spiked the weekly low, started trading bullish, so I'm gonna go with potential a bullish day today. And on the 5 minutes, if I drop down, quickly want to see where we're trading. So again, we've got our daily pivot and our weekly pivot sitting closer to 127.28. Also on the 80, we've got quite a bit of bullish momentum coming through here. So my idea for this morning, Asia highs or even the weekly pivot to take trades from this level right here. So I'm going to set some alerts for us here. Potential longs at 127.28. Looking much better today. Let me just grab this for us quickly. Weekly pivot. And the Asia highs, let's have that in. So I'm gonna go with a bullish outlook today on GBP USD and see where we can go from here. Got our alert set. GBP JPY, and for the most part USD JPY as well. We mentioned it yesterday, even though we've extended almost 800 pips. Just want to check, again, not 800, 560 pips in the last 2 weeks. We can still go higher. We're not going to fight the trend. Yesterday as well, we mentioned we need to see some sort of daily reversal. Looking on the weekly, our next area of potential resistance is sitting at 186.90. Let's call it 187. That is where we can potentially find resistance and start pulling back. This is also an area I'll monitor for a potential fade. If not, if we break through 187 and start trading higher, we'll continue with that trend. Daily, no top wick, very interesting. I don't know if some of you guys know what a no daily top wick means for continuation mode. Just want to get it checked there on the music, guys. How's the music? Don't want it to be too loud and distracting, but if we can just confirm. So basically, no top wick on a daily candle means that the majority of retail was in on this buy and it closed at the high of the day. So not always the case, but this is not good for bullish continuation. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say today we could potentially get a red day. But again, we are bullish on the day. But no top wick means that the majority of retail was in on that buy and I started stacking buys at that level. So Asia highs, currently trading at the Asia highs, and still a lot of bullish momentum there. Again, can't deny the fact that we are bullish, but I would say monitor 187. I'm just going to set some alerts there. Potential fade trade. We could get run over by a bus, but again, just want to mark out the templates quickly. USD JPY, very similar to GJ, so not going to waste your time there. Above the daily pivot. So UJ already starting to show some cracks, AD starting to trade below the 200, so very interesting. Let's see if we can basically extend past Asia lows and get a scenario like this after the open shuffle, rejections of those lows to come and retest the daily pivot here at 146. But again, a lot of bullish momentum and pressure on this, so not gonna set any alerts there for us. Nothing really of interest that I'm looking at there. And then US 30, as mentioned yesterday, we actually missed our target late in the day. It pushed all the way up, but I had alerts set here in London closer to that level. Wanted to get a sell off that retest there. As mentioned as well, closed below that area of support. We have been in this range. We are still bullish though. One thing to note, as you can see, just looking left, you can see that the trend is bullish. We are making higher highs, higher lows. How deep we pull back, I would say the first hint for us is that we could potentially pull all the way back to 34,500, 34,450, or this was the pullback right here. So for some of the guys that trade SMC and ICT and all of that, so there's a fair value gap right there. There's the imbalance. We've already mitigated 50% of that, so very interesting, but overall still bullish. This is not a bearish market, but on the day I am bearish unless we start trading back above this weekly pivot at 34,954. And if I jump down to a 5-minute time frame, let's quickly mark out our Asia range as well. Asia lows and then Asia highs are right about there. Okay. Currently showing some bullish momentum, and what I want to see is whether we can hold the Asia highs, but bearish on the day. Otherwise, if we start flipping bearish on the AD, just want to check USD ZAR. Okay, let's potentially start locking it in here for USD ZAR. Is a little bit before the open, but remember our pre-market starts at 8 as well, and if you go and check at what USD ZAR does before that, is most of the moves occur between 8 and 9, and then the continuation from 9 to 10. Keeks, you're also bearish on gold, eh, for the day?
Yeah, no, I definitely am bearish. So for me, at this point in time, I do see maybe a little bit of retracement coming. So we might be looking for 1898. You could even push and say maybe a little bit of a 1899, 1900 flat, just because we never did get that true retest. But after we gave in and we had a complete daily closure at 1896 yesterday, I'm completely bearish. So I'm just going to wait for that retracement and then hopefully see this drop down. My targeted area would probably be about 1886 for now.
1886, yeah.
But also I might just look, because I've got some of those Asia highs. And again, as I mentioned, just that little quick retracement just to get a bit of a retest and support. I will see if this Asia high maybe also gets a nice retest, and if that holds the support, even just like a quick one-to-one trade off that.
Yeah, I think this 1900 level has been quite key as well. So we could actually potentially retrace all the way back up during London. And again, like we mentioned, that 4-hour candle that starts at 7 o'clock GMT plus 2. So not usually, it's something that we've been looking at, is the 7 o'clock, the 4-hour candle is usually opposite to where the rest of the session is going to go. So yesterday as well, this is your 7 o'clock candle, bullish on gold, and look what the next 4-hour did. Took out the highs and then traded lower from there. Same thing now again. We've got this 7-hour, 4-hour candle already starting to push bullish. So this could even push all the way up to 1900 and then do something similar to what we had here. If we go to Monday as well, I just want to point this out to you guys. Let's just mark this. And this is actually how you backtest and how you start to find patterns in the market. Not as a trading strategy, but you start to critically think about what happens during certain periods of the day, and you can start formulating a plan around that. So I think this was Tuesday, this didn't work out. We were still stuck in that range. So let's make that one orange. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So basically it's basically a 66% hit rate if you went opposite to what the 7 o'clock candle did. So we can monitor this today as well. I must actually still backtest this. I'll give you guys some feedback. I'll go and make an Excel spreadsheet and start looking at it. But again, if this thing pushes bullish all the way up to 1900, we could potentially go and look for shorts.
Like, my thing is also just looking at that big bearish engulfing candle, because that was so large. I mean, you can have such amount of space for a retrace to go retest that area.
I think actually this was the sign yesterday that we could continue bearish, and I think what could have messed up the guys yesterday was this deep retracement, because that retracement was quite deep on the 4-hour.
Yeah, but also again, looking at that deep retracement, like we spoke about, I think we mentioned again yesterday, a lot of guys will want to start flipping trades there. But I think a key aspect of that trade was that even though it was a small bearish body, it did close under the 1900. So when you look at the next candle that opened up, that thing just bolted to the downside.
Is this my alerts or your alerts? Do you have alerts set?
Not at the moment, so that I think is yours.
Yeah, well, that's weird. I'm getting alerts, but it's not popping up. Guys, so I'm going to lock it in for USD ZAR. I quite like what I'm seeing here. Nice little rejection being formed here. So on the next candle, if we can get a nice green closure up like that, I'm going to execute some buys. Could be a very quick move to the upside, and I would say target Asia highs, maybe even a spike above that, and see if we can get a runner. So USD ZAR, I know it's not something a lot of people trade, but as I've mentioned, it's something I've been looking at, and it moves quite nicely. So I'm going to lock it in here, and then we've got our alerts set for GU. I would like now 5 minutes to the open, 5 minutes. So I would actually like, after we've opened up, to trade back into this weekly pivot level, and then I'm going to start looking for buying opportunities there. And we've got that daily wick fill, so I would say daily targets are around about 127.65. Let's just maybe make this green. Laz, oh, good to see you in the chat, man. So that will be our daily targets on GU. So looking for some buys on GU, and then USD ZAR. I would like for us to get a break and closure above here. Hope everyone's doing well. How's the trading been this week, guys? I've actually just had, I think I'm minus 1.7 pips. Both trades actually worked out this week. GU closed a little bit earlier than I should have on Tuesday. UJ yesterday as well, traded into a news event, closed that out, but that worked out as well. We bought Asia, I think it was the pivot, yeah, we bought here, and that was close to the it was close to the hourly closing, and as I mentioned, the previous daily highs was going to be the target, and we closed for a break even, chopped around the pivot there, but eventually after that, around about 12, started moving to the upside. So analysis was good on that, but I honestly don't like when we chop in a range. I honestly thought like after breaking through that level, we're just going to get a clean move to Asia highs. So, and then GU as well, we had buys after, I think it was Tuesday's data. Tuesday, yes, it was, yeah. Tuesday bought the Asia highs after we pushed up. There was our Asia high after that second retest, potential double bottom here. We bought there, and I think we closed out for like 3 pips, just due to the fact that it was also, it was actually basically almost squeezing, and I told you guys we can break out to either side. But that also popped to the upside, so good analysis on the week. I think the analysis has been solid so far this week. Gigs has been doing very well on gold, chopping it both ways. Me personally, a little bit of a week, not really.
Yeah, it's actually been a very good week. I just want to check on your GU trade. What is GU you want to look at, eh?
What I'm looking at now for this morning.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking at on the daily, we've got the daily wick fill sitting at 127.65, and then also I'm looking at the weekly pivot and the daily pivot. So they're quite close to one another. So ideally, once we open up now in 29 seconds, I would like for us to trade back into this level, and then I'll start to see if we can hold the weekly pivot.
Yeah, no, because I was actually just looking at it now. I mean, as I've mentioned, gold is my main baby, but I have like my 6 pairs I trade. I was actually just looking at it now as well. GU, yeah, if you can retrace a bit more and find some demand, you honestly could even be looking at 2 27840, even a possibility of 28200, just depending how things go, especially with the dollar and what's going to happen to that. So this could honestly be like a really nice move.
Or it can just pump. For the most part, that's what it's been doing this entire week. Literally just pumping, not giving you any re-entries. But let's see, we've got our alerts set. I am monitoring USD ZAR here on the right hand side.
I mean, even looking at GJ now as well, that thing has just been pumping to the upside. Like you really can't find a re-entry anywhere.
Yeah, that's my issue. I mentioned it yesterday as well. It comes down to probabilities. Like, obviously, when you want to buy, you want to try and buy as close to the Asia lows. And if you want to sell, you want to sell as close to the Asia highs or session highs potentially. So, for instance, USD ZAR, I am bullish on the day. And if we can regain the Asia lows, and we are above the pivot and my AD starts flipping bullish again, then I feel there's a very high probability we can go and retest the Asia highs. So the probability is better than, for instance, me trying to buy the Asia highs here, because we can retrace all the way back to Asia lows and then get a move to the upside. So all just, you want to trade around the edges of the market. But let's see, I need to see USD ZAR getting back above the 200 on the AD. So what I'm referring to here is my accumulation distribution. That blue line right there, that is the 200 moving average on the AD. So I would want to see something like this on the AD where we actually come back above the 200. 200 starts flipping to the upside. That's going to support my idea for the buys. If not, Asia low is going to be basically the resistance and we can trade lower from there. But I'm not interested in sells. I don't want to fade this. The easy thing with trading is once you've established your weekly trend, and from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday you start trading in the main direction of the weekly trend. Then it becomes quite easy. So if you go back on your charts as well, you'll see Monday, Tuesday against the weekly trend, Wednesday, Thursday, half day, Friday. That's the main crux of the move. And Keys, I'm actually going to be quite alert on US 30 because yesterday we shared the analysis when I was looking for the shorts, and we still mention it. I think it was here in the morning. Yeah, here it was. The 35. Must actually get Mo to clip that so you can put it on IG. But I said if we can start finding resistance here, because the 80 was trading all the way below the 200, and we can get this support there to break, we could come all the way back into the range, and that is exactly what we got. But I wasn't really dialed into US 30 yesterday, so
well, I mean, it happened there. So it happened with a sell that was during the live. I know it was off camera though, but you and me were literally sitting there watching that massive buy about to happen.
Oh, before the open
again,
yesterday.
Just didn't get that massive buy.
So yesterday, here was the Asia lows. That was the Asia low, and this was the candle just before the open, and I told Keeks, if this candle can literally just give us like a little bit more, close like that, I'm gonna buy, due to the fact that we're so far away from the daily pivot. We basically at session lows, and I told him, okay, it's not closing above the Asia lows, so I'm just gonna wait for one more candle, and that thing literally just projectiled to the upside. But to be fair, I caught the buys, those little buy scalps on NAS. So this was the Asia lows yesterday, barely closed above the Asia lows. And after seeing US 30 pumping, I took actually 3 bars at the close of that candle, popped back a little bit, and once we broke those highs and closed out at that level, dude, I would have actually maybe missed those profits, but Keegan said, he was literally standing next to me and he said, like, maybe take some off here, because if you look left, this area was an area of resistance, and I almost top ticked that 5-minute candle, and basically 5-minute trade done. And then we continued lower for the rest of the day. Alright guys, so blocking it in here with USD ZAR, 80 starting to get above the 200. First candle closure above the Asia lows. I'll be executing on that candle close for long positions, and I will manage it firstly Asia highs and then see if we can maybe extend that trade. But 80 is looking good. I just need a break of structure, candle closure above that level, and we are good to go. Just gonna set an alert so I don't miss it.
So I feel like it's going to be very much a patience game today.
Yeah, I don't think there's any need to rush. I'm actually quite looking forward to starting that challenge account next week.
Yeah, I think that's going to be fun. Gonna have to take some proper scalps on that challenge. be called clap or get clapped.
Clap or clapping. I think we should just mention to Mo, I think the chat is acting up again in terms of being able to chat, but
He's watching, but I don't know if he can hear us.
Moski, check if somebody that does not have a channel can actually sign out of your YouTube and see if you can post something in the chat. Just for a viewer from outside, whether you can post something in the chat if you do not have a YouTube channel. Alright guys, we need to get above Asia lows for those buys. Gold at the daily pivot, let's see. I would say either buys here from the daily pivot. If we get like some sort of structure break to go and retest the 1900s. But again, so much space between that, we haven't retested the Asia highs, so I would say a lower probability trade. GBP USD coming into that weekly pivot zone. Okay, it seems the Neil, good to have you on board. And what I would want to see here is either like some type of double bottom formation, or even price dipping quite deeply into the zone, creating like a bottom wick and then a bullish engulfing, or maybe like just a tiny little structure being formed, resistance, and then a break of structure for us to buy to continue higher. And then on US 30, I want to see how we trade at these Asia highs. As mentioned, I am bearish on the day. We have, however, not yet tested the daily pivot, so maybe some short-term buys to go and retest that daily pivot. Just want to say happy birthday to Javon in the office. It's his birthday today. Actually said he's going to send us a birthday signal. Should actually open up Telegram. Let's see if we can get a birthday signal there from Javon. And if we hit stops on that birthday signal, we'll forgive him because it's his birthday, but what happened again? But again, guys, streaming daily from Monday to Friday, 8:30 till 11. Streams are free. We only charge likes. So entry upon the stream is a like. So be sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate it. It helps us with the algo. Other than that, we won't charge you anything except the likes. I was actually put an alert on here to get that signal.
Chris, you know what I was thinking of?
Yeah.
Maybe something also we can do, like while we're waiting now for our things to play out, is we can make sure to ask the viewers, for example, what pairs they're looking at, and if there's maybe like a possible quick analysis we'll do on those pairs for them.
Yeah, guys, feel free to send your charts. You can literally copy it here on TradingView. There where the camera is, you can copy the link, post the link in the chat, and we can have a look at your charts. So feel free to send your charts. If there's any other pair we don't necessarily trade but you want an analysis of, please send that in the chat and we will gladly have a look at it. And Laz is asking what prop company you going for, guys. I'm currently trading some live accounts. Industry has taken off. Laz, there are so many good prop trading firms. There's actually one launching very soon here in SA as well, which I will also be going for. But in the meantime, I think the top prop firms currently are obviously FTMO, they're the OGs. Then you've got My Forex Funds, the Funded Trader, Funded Next, Blue Guardian. I don't really think, obviously if there's like prop firms you haven't heard of and they don't really have like a big following, that's obviously a red flag. But for the most part, I think some of the companies are quite well established. So there's this guy on, where did I send it? I'll share a link in the chat. This oak actually made quite a nice spreadsheet showing all of the prop firms. Just quickly gonna get that link. I also did a prop firm comparison list. We maybe open that up to show you guys. The thing with prop firms is nothing really new. Funded Next, My Funded, True Forex Fund, Smart Prop Trader, Funded Engineer, Bespoke Funding, These are some of the prop firms I've been looking at. Keeks, you currently trading with my Forex funds, or is it?
Yeah, so my live accounts are with my Forex funds, and then I'm currently busy doing challenges with the funded trader. Out of interest, I see they're not there. I'd actually like to do a bit of research into top tier and into the leveled up society.
I've seen quite a bit of top tier on Twitter, but I think that it's mostly futures. I don't know if it's FX. Let's actually have a look at that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with them is like those smaller ones that are relatively new. They just are also coming up quite quickly just because of their backing.
Forex properly. Yes, Laz, that's the guy. I think he's got like a Excel spreadsheet that he shares as well. So okay, GBP USD holding Asia highs. Not interested for me. I want to see us going back into that pivot level. But yeah, like mentioned, we are bullish on the day. USDs are also failing to get above the Asia highs, Asia lows. Multiple retests here on the pivot, so I do think once we get above the Asia lows, we can execute there. Laz, you should pull into the office, dude. 189 Cape Road. You know the drill. The entry into the office is a Seattle coffee. So for the PE guys that want to come in, sorry, we do charge something. It's a Seattle coffee for you to come into the office. But
I'm just saying, we want the grande, not those small ones.
Keeks, what is your order from Seattle?
Oh, butterscotch latte, 100%.
Laz, butterscotch latte for Keeks, and I'll just do like the standard. I don't want the grande. I'll just take the tall double shot oat milk. Do Seattle do almond milk for the caps?
Yeah, they do.
I haven't tasted the almond milk. I think Caitlin would have. How's the almond milk, Cap? Only oat milk. Okay. Laz, I'm gonna go with the oat milk, dude. I'm sticking with that, but at all. But it's only a once-off fee, eh? For those oaks that don't know, it's only once that you need to bring the Seattle. And then you've got your entry into the office. Dude, Hein comes into the office with no Seattle. He only brings his own Seattle, drinks it in front of everybody. And then he still...
you see, that's why karma gets him.
And then he still uses our Wi-Fi, uses our office space here. No Seattle.
And he wants the premium parking outside.
No, lads, the other oaks don't drink coffee, they drink tea and stuff, so it's only for me and Keeks. Caitlin also does not drink coffee, she drinks tea. Keeks, is Caitlin only on tea, eh? I haven't seen her drink coffee. The blasphemy.
No, she's been cheating lately.
Really?
Yeah, the whole thing with the tea started because she couldn't have milk, and then now she's been having milk, so she's drinking coffee again. See, your coach can't be angry with you when they're cheating.
But I have to say the meals haven't been bad, but it is like Caitlin actually said, like I've been eating a lot less this week. So last night I had like 2 chicken wraps, and after that, like I was full. Like I didn't feel like I was hungry or anything.
Yeah, I think it's all like a mental thing. Once your body gets to a point, it can just carry on.
But dude, I've packed my gym bag like this entire week, like saying that lunchtime, so I'm gonna go gym, and that bag is here from Monday. So I really need to up my game on actually going to gym.
It's fine. We'll hold you accountable, and when lunchtime comes, we're gonna kick you out the office.
No, you have to. You have to.
So while you gone, we can low-key throw office parties.
Guys, I'm still keen for the USD ZAR buys. I'm just gonna patiently wait. Like I mentioned, anything like a strong bullish candle like this, and I'm going to execute. I'm not going to look for sells on it. Gold, again, like I mentioned, at the pivot. Let's see. Potential entries at Asia high, DXY still below the Asia lows, and USD JPY also trading at these Asia lows. Wouldn't really look at buying at 80s, even though the 80 is bullish. Yeah, nothing high probability there for me.
Just out of interest sake, any of the viewers that are on, have any of them taken any of the trades that we've spoke about on the lives?
Yeah, have you guys been taking the trades? I think Hussein was in yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, and Neil also took the USD JPY trade. Neil actually tagged me on Instagram. He basically hit full TP on it. But I have been working with Neil for the last month, actually 3 months. Neil, I don't know if it's 3 months, but Neil is very familiar with my strategy, so he actually backed himself on that trade. And but we're working on a setup to potentially get Keeks to also share his screen for when he's executing on gold, so we'll figure that out in the coming weeks to get Keeks to also basically share his screen as well. But USDZAR, let's see if we can get away from this daily pivot, get back into the Asia range. GBP USD weekly pivot. As mentioned, I want to see us dip into this weekly pivot level, either some rejections, double bottom, engulfing candle, and gold. I am bearish on the day, but where do I sell from? That is my question. And the 80 is also showing, look at this, a lot of bullish pressure, a lot of accumulation, so not necessarily keen on selling it here. Yeah, really enough, Les. Gold, from stats I've seen, is most probably the most traded instrument between all the prop firms. And I really think if you focus on gold, there's a lot of opportunity on it. Personally, I wanna basically only trade US indices by the end of the year. I'm still thinking I want to cut away a lot of these other pairs, but also to ideally focus on 1 or 2 pairs at max. Just think you're more dialed in. Like Keeks only trades gold, and yeah, you become a specialist in that instrument.
Yeah, I was actually having this conversation with Jevin yesterday where we were talking about how, yes, I will trade different pairs every now and again, once every blue moon, but gold I basically full-time day trade. I'm taking 2 bullets on it every day. But just for like a little bit of stats, just so guys can see that it is doable. I mean, in 3 days of just trading 1 pair, 15% up. So it is quite a good thing. Yes, those are good days. I wouldn't say those are like averages, for example, but that is still a very positive just off 1 pair.
And you go with quite a tight stop. What is your stop on gold?
It honestly differs. So depending on the trades, if I want to take it very, very safe. So for example, I was explaining this to someone last night. My morning trade, I'll take quite a safe stop, because basically the idea is that first trade is going the opposite direction of what I want the volume to go in the New York session. So I'm just going a quick 1-to-1 in the morning, just to basically give me profit. So when I have the riskier trade in the evening or afternoon, I'm actually risking profit. So either way, if I do take the loss, I'm actually just at break even for the day again.
Yeah.
So depending on the trades, like I said, because I am going against the opposite trend of the day, I use a bit more of a safer one. But then again, in the evening or afternoon, when I'm going in, say, with the trend, I'll have a bit more of a tighter stop, because it's more probability that the trade's going to go my way.
Makes sense. I like that. And how much do you risk per trade?
Just 1% per trade.
Okay.
So if I am up, and let's just say I am feeling a bit riskier, I might do a 1.5, but that's about it. I won't ever risk more than that.
Yeah, we've got our alerts set on USD and gold. I'm actually going to set alert here at 1895, and let's see once we tap back into that zone what happens there, whether we can hold. I think we've got an hour and a half left for this 4-hour candle. Yes, hour and 26. Let's see if we can get a push to 1900 and potentially take it lower from there. Jason, good morning. Good morning. I'm very tempted to take along from these Asia highs on US 30. What did we do yesterday during, so we also formed a high between 10 and 11, then traded lower. So again, you're trading higher. Actually, Nasdaq. Yeah, I know.
I think maybe just looking off that time frame, you could get a maybe little push up to the upside if it gets rejected off the Asia high to that daily pivot that's above it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, looking back on yesterday, we basically did almost the same thing. We traded higher, rejected, came lower, and then traded high back into the daily pivot, and then started moving lower again. So I would have ideally, for the buy scenario, liked for us to rather trade lower into the Asia lows and then look for a buy. There's also some divergence between Nasdaq and US 30 on the 80 accumulation distribution. So yeah, I'm rather going to wait for the afternoons. The afternoons so far have been good in terms of trading the indices. So let's maybe not try and fix something that is not broken.
But I think interesting again, something I think we have mentioned before was the whole backtesting and even journaling your trades, just for the idea of you can notice where you're taking your wins, when you're taking your losses, and what time of the day those are normally occurring. So you can find out if you are more successful in the Asian, London, New York session also.
Yeah, guys, journaling, I think we forget the importance of how important journaling is. I don't care how long you've been trading or how successful you are, you gotta keep on journaling your trades. And especially if you are going through a slump, go back on your trades, be very critical. Like, start firstly with see where most of your wins occurred, during what time of the day, and what times most of your losses occurred. So for the most part, you'll see there is a correlation. It's either going to be most of your losses occur pre-market or basically close to the open. For me, for instance, most of my losses occurred pre-market and very close to the open. I would say that 15-30 minute window just before the open and after the open. And then you really start working it back from there.
Yeah, I might be looking now to tell us saying a bit of a one-to-one trade on gold, as we are going to get back to the Asia highs very soon. And again, if I go over and I look at the dollar index, we are rejecting off the Asia lows. So if we have to think again of the long-term plan and what we are looking for the day, I would like the rejection to come down here, where you can basically on the dollar find daily support around 102.9400, where then it will find its support and go bullish, which again will line up with my plan for gold for the day. So as mentioned, you can get that quick buy in now off the Asia highs back to probably, even if you want to say playing safe, late on the 1898 range, where when the dollar will find that support, we will get the collapse in the New York session for that big volume move to the downside.
GU holding Asia highs, not interested. GJ basically traded all the way back into the Asia range. US 30 holding Asia highs. I'm actually going to look for a sell on NAS if we start getting closures below the Asia high. But interesting to note on Nasdaq, if you look at it, after 2 days worth of decline, you either had like a range day, or so 2 days worth of decline, range, then we went into this bigger range, then again 2 days decline, you got a pullback, little pullback, then back into a range, and now we've had another 2 days of decline. So are we going to do something like this where we chop up and down, form a range around this level right here? Interesting. Jason Larkin asked thoughts on trade near New York open close. Those have been profitable for me, quick in and out between 9:30 and 10. So weirdly enough, there's another streamer that calls it the closing rig, where for instance, if you are very close to the daily high at the end of the day, that last 30 minutes, there's a very high probability that you can close near the high of the day if the market is trending. So the closing rig, as he calls it, is basically just getting that last bit of momentum, that last squeeze. But for me personally, Jason, after the entire day working in the office, being on the charts, doing a lot of stuff, I honestly don't have the capacity to still sit and wait to trade that. But there are a lot of nuances in the market when it comes to that. GBP USD, okay, there we've got the dip into the pivot level. Now we can start going on higher alerts, see what we do here. USDs are still holding the daily pivot level. Again, alert set. As soon as we get something like this, I am executing on it, and we will go long. Jason, what is your strategy in terms of trading that close? Do you go with the session trend, or do you try and fade it like the pullback? Now I have to pee and the trades are in zone. Sorry, you muted, Gigs?
I was gonna say, what, do we need to get you a bottle or something?
Yes, you need to get a laptop set up there in the toilet. Guys, 80 is not necessarily below the 200 for me here, so it's not a clean cut trade. I'm just gonna run to the toilet quick. Let's see what happens. I'll maybe give it some more room if the 80 can get below the 200. Similar with US 30. All of my rules are not met, so I'm gonna give it some chance to actually maybe do something like this here. Drop lower, find some resistance there, then I'm gonna try sell on that high. But again, just referring back to the daily, 2 days worth of decline, then we go into a range. So tricky, very, very tricky. And then USD ZAR, I think, is our best bet. This for me is the higher probability trade out of all of the pairs. So just patiently gonna wait and see if we can get a closure back above like that. Okay, we are back. Geeks thought I missed my move. Seeing that candle there, but I'm just speaking it into existence. But that's part of trading, is like visualizing what you want to see, and then once you see it, there's no second guessing. You execute on the idea and you go with it. As soon as you start second guessing yourself, that's when you're gonna not enter trades, and for the most part you're gonna enter the losing trades and you're gonna miss the winning trades. It's just unfortunately Murphy's law. Guys, I'm going to wait for this 5 minute to close. I'm actually going to take a long, if we get a strong 5 minute closure here. We've had multiple tests here on the daily pivot. I am still bullish, so I'm going to take a punt on it. And then once I enter here, I'm going to start looking at where I want to see what we do at the Asia lows. So just a heads up, I'm locking it in here on USD ZAR. Nasdaq dropping down. So what I'll do now is for Nasdaq, if we can get below the 200 on the 80, I'm going to wait for potential retest here. And then if we can reject the Asia highs, I'll look for a sell. But let's lock it in here on USD ZAR. Just needed to hold ground here. See if we can get a squeeze. And then also ideally what I would want to see is DXY actually getting back above the Asia lows. I don't want to see it reject here. If it's rejecting here, we could go lower on the USD crosses, but let's see. USD ZAR. On the closure of this 5 minute candle, I go with a 35 pip stop. I'm going to give it a bit, say 38. Wherever this candle closes, I'm going to execute. I want it to close quite strong like it's closing now, and then I don't want this in the last, say, 1 minute to pull all the way back and leave like this massive top wick. I actually also don't want it to close right up against the Asia lows, because then we've got no advantage point. But let's see. I'll maybe go half risk here, and then if it pulls back, add another half here and get an average in on it. Okay, 10 seconds, let's see how we close. Okay, I am in this trade. I went to half risk, gonna give it, say, actually gonna give it, say, around about, actually 45 point stop. and halfway into this candle I am going to add another position, and I want us to get through the Asia lows, and then I want us to target the Asia highs. That is the plan on USD ZAR. So if you can get a nice little pullback into this 5-minute candle. Just one thing to look out for, we are in the last 5 minutes of the hourly candle, and the hourly is gonna close potentially weak bullish, and we could get quite a deep pullback on the next hourly. But this is the trade that I am in, and I want to see if we can get through the Asia lows. I just added another position, so my average is around about here, and I'm gonna keep that 45 stop. Targets are Asia high. Perfect. Let's see what we get. As mentioned, I ideally want to see DXY getting above the Asia lows, otherwise the idea on USD ZAR is not going to be valid. And also what I'll do is I'll add another position once we get a closure like this above the Asia lows. Then I will add one more position if we survive the hourly pullback. And how's it been going, Jason, with that strategy? We've got some elevator music here. Okay, you can't hear it. Must actually change this. Hectic. Okay, 43 seconds. Let's see if we can survive the bottom wick on the hourly. Moving averages, we are currently trading below the moving averages. We are trading below the Asia lows. We have basically held the daily pivot level, still above 19. I'm going to be very comfortable once we get back inside of the Asia range. And I'm also going to add another position once we're inside of that nice little break of structure. If not, then we are going to go lower. We'll most probably break through this daily pivot level, something like that, and get clapped. But let's see. This is the trade that we are in, and let's see if we can get a move up here.
Yeah, I just want to also add there, like, I think a lot of traders also, especially the beginners, like you need to understand you are going to take losses. No trade in the world has a 100% win rate. So I think even now, like, I mean, Chris and myself, you're not scared to get clapped, to take a loss. It's part of the game. I mean, you, like we were saying earlier, you can laugh it off in the moment, but you as long as you learn from it and you take something away, then that's beneficial.
He's saying, I hope the music is still good. He said we shouldn't change it, but we'll go back to that's actually a live playlist we played before. But that music was quite depressing, that elevator music. I'm not a huge fan of RSI trading, but the scalp has been working so far. Actually, when I started trading, I traded RSI divergences and stuff. There are grounds for it, but for the most part, it's not something that I've used in the last 5 years of my trading. Previous hourly still closed bearish. Let's see, we'll need to start flipping bullish, start breaking the previous hourly high. One thing I do need to note is DXY struggling here at the Asia lows, very similar to what we had yesterday, but that was closer to 8 o'clock. Struggled to get past the Asia lows. Proceeded to trade lower, actually failed at the pivot as well. We failed the pivot, and then around about 10:35 we actually bottomed out. So we could get another move down on DXY before start turning bullish. But let's see. USD ZAR literally stalled. I don't know what's happening here. It's like price is not moving an inch. If there is something I can say, listen to these men, they know what they're doing. I took a beating for years because I decided to learn my lessons the hard way. Yeah, Laz, the thing is with lessons, sometimes you need to learn them on your own. And I think it comes back to that young bull jumping over fences and then the old bull walking through the gate. So sometimes we want to jump fences when there's an open gate you can just walk through, but alright guys, if this trade is starting to struggle, we'll just phone the liquidity providers just to add some liquidity to the buy side. So don't stress. Gigs is also going to phone some guys in Cape Town and Joburg just to back us up on this trade.
Don't worry, we've got Jay Rizzle, yeah, he's going to throw some of his birthday magic over this trade.
We're still waiting for the birthday signal. Jay Riz. Jay Swiss. No signal as of yet. Don't let the feds catch you.
Just out of like interest sake, I mean, I can't really see the chat, but just a question to them, like how many of the guys are like privately funded or are doing like funded challenges?
Yeah, guys, how many, what's the status? Most of you oaks trading private, self-funded, or trading with funded accounts? And this is a topic of discussion yesterday as well. What is the consensus on, would you rather trade your own funds or would you rather trade a funded challenge? Jason, self-funded. Laz mentioned he's trading his own accounts as well. I think there was a while back when Laz was quite into the funded scene. Laz, I think you also passed some of those funded accounts. 1% up on phase 1, Brahm, Botma, awesome. Yeah, I think if you start a funded challenge and you get that first 1 or 2%, it just puts you at ease, especially now that most of the firms don't have any time limits. It just takes a lot of the pressure off. It really does take a lot of the pressure off if you can start on a good wicket.
I must say, I think out of all the big dogs, I think FTMO, they're the only one that still have a time limit there.
No, they've gone unlimited.
Oh, they've also done it. Okay.
FTMO, I think, have gone unlimited. Let me just check. Yeah, they're unlimited now as well.
Yeah, I think you have to do it, I mean, to keep up with the times and what the other guys are doing.
Guys, DXY not getting through Asia lows as mentioned. Very likely we can trade low from here once we break the structure to the downside. USDs are obviously very correlated with the DXY as well. And if we look at our trade, we're basically back at the pivot. Failure to hold here, closures back below this range right here, and we could see a move down. However, if we can hold the pivot, the trade can still work out, but currently not looking good. And this could basically be a consolidation before the next leg down. Looking on the daily, let's quickly look at what we've got on the daily. Daily closing bullish. We actually already broke the daily high, yesterday's daily high, and if we look left, failure to close back above that area. But also yesterday's candle broke Tuesday's low and traded higher. So let's see. I am still bullish on the day, and I will still remain to be bullish while we are holding the pivot. So let's see. Also, as mentioned, the hourly pullback. If we can start trading bullish again back above the Asia lows. If we get stopped out, I will look for a re-entry on the Asia lows. Other than that, I'm not going to go against my daily bias on this. So that is the ideal. Otherwise, clap city for us on USD ZAR. very likely will get stopped. Jason, I'm still deciding. I don't necessarily want to promote any prop firms, but I think we'll most probably be with one of the more established prop firms. So that list we had previously. So taking one of their challenges. Keeks, but you mentioned my Forex funds, their execution's not that great though. Their spreads, I think.
Yeah, they're not my favorites. I mean, I will definitely say the funded trader on execution and stuff is a lot better.
Bram, with who are you trading your funded account? Guys, actually forgot to do the disclaimer this morning, but it's in the description of the chat as well. These streams are purely for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not construe this as financial advice. Please seek financial advice before you make any financial decisions. And as I always mention, you will lose money if you follow what we do here. Therefore, do the opposite. Fade us, and you will make money. Bram saying he's with the funded trader as well. Yeah, I have to say they are doing very well. I think they've got a very strong marketing team, and they run quite a bit of specials as well. So,
yeah, honestly, they are killing the game at the moment.
But it's that weird question again of what is my Forex funds doing that they're still on top? Because currently I think the rankings are my Forex funds and the funded trader and then FTMO. Okay guys, we got stopped out of this. I am out of USD ZAR. On the broker feed, got stopped out here. Had 2 positions in. I'll still look for re-entries. I'll still give it till about 10:30 if we can get back above the Asia lows and if we can get DXY to come back into the Asia range as well. Otherwise, like mentioned, this consolidation will just be a consolidation before a continuation lower. So stopped out of this. Idea was there. Still not off the table, but failing to continue higher from this daily pivot and also below the moving averages. So let's see. I'll give it one more shot. I'm leaving my alerts at 1980, but basically 45 pip stop on that on USD ZAR.
Just out of interest, what account size do you think you're going to go for, Chris?
You obviously know what's happening in the back end, so I'm thinking I'm gonna start with the 50k, and see where we can take that 50k, and then maybe if we get a refund on the first one, and then build it up.
Yeah, I think that would actually be a cool thing to do. I mean, if you start pumping the challenges out, So for example, you do like a 50k, get your first payout and your refund back, and then you go put that into 100k, and you do the same thing and then take it to a 200k, and the same thing and a 300k. Just keep like getting that account till you get to the top of the top.
I think the one guy mentioned he wanted to do a challenge. I don't know where I saw it on social media, that he wanted to start with the 10k, like the smallest one, and show somebody how you can. That's obviously going to take quite a bit of time, so I don't necessarily want to waste that time, but to take a 10k and start scaling it like you mentioned, get your first payout, buy say a 50k, trying to get a payout again, a refund, and then scale to the maximum. So I think most of the firms, the max that you can manage with them is like 400k, 400, 600.
Yeah, so I know the funded trader, the once off biggest account you do is a 400k, but you can obviously scale up to 600k.
Yeah, so without the scaling, I think most of them are like on 400k.
But again, hey, like I think it comes back down to what we're talking about with trading is don't treat it as a get rich overnight scheme. It's the same as any other job, the same as any other career. You're going to take your time. You're going to have to put effort in. Go the long road with it. Even like myself, just in the funding journey. I mean, I started with a 20, then a 50, 100, 200, and worked my way up. I never did the 5 or the 10. But that was where I was privately funding myself, self-funded, and basically made my profits to afford those. But again, work your way up the accounts. Don't just jump right into like a 200 or 300k account.
It is a lot of money though. I think we mentioned, is it like 30k, 25, 30k for those big accounts?
Yeah, 25k just for a 300k.
Fuck, that is a...
But I think that people also don't understand, like, I think that's where that greediness comes. Like, again, over time, you can keep leveling yourself up. But, I mean, a 50k account, you honestly can make more than most people in South Africa.
Yeah, dude, you can make a wage for yourself on a 50k.
And, like, you can do that quite comfortably.
Are you still in your gold, Keeks?
I've set my buy limit, but I just keep not getting tapped in. So at the moment, my buy limit is at 1895.
Okay.
So I'm just not getting tapped in. But as I said, I don't see this now pulling down that low. So I am hoping, for example, with the dollar, how that's holding against the Asia lows, to maybe get a little bit more of a breakaway to the downside before that finds strength again. So I do see gold got to find some strength before it's going to plummet again. But again, looking at those sentiments you're looking at now, like I cannot be going long-term bullish on gold until we are, again, like I mentioned yesterday, above that 1905, 1906 area. Until then, I'm going to be bearish, especially after breaking that 1900 yesterday. but you see there on gold. We're gonna trade a little FTMO style there. We've got a beautiful falling wedge forming.
Dude, yeah,
We'll
this
go
is
up
a
to the top right.
pennant flag, symmetrical triangle. Or it's a lot of people don't know, but this is the pterodactyl formation, where this is the beak, that is the body, and usually what the pterodactyl does is gives you this breakout to the upside. But listen, 100% years ago, this was like some sort of a pennant formation for me. And what I would have waited for now is like a breakout and then a retest of the structure level there. And I would go long on that retest, stops just below here.
Well, I think a lot of traders, they can't even lie. Like 90% of them probably started doing that. Because I was one of them as well.
But the weird thing is, if you look at the rules of a symmetrical triangle, for instance this, it's usually if you're making lower lows, lower highs, the breakout usually happens like this. It's not necessarily a bullish formation, this. We're not trading those formations, but I'm just saying, for instance, if this was the other way around, where you had, say, the highs keep getting tapped, something like this, and you kept making higher lows, then that is a bullish formation because it's building liquidity to the upside. So, but yeah, those formation trading days were, I think it was a lot simpler though. It was a lot simpler back in the day.
I think that's also the same thing where I think, again, when we all started, you start doing these simple things and you trading and you know what, you're making some money and you all sit there going, oh my word, like this is so easy, like I can do this. And then that one trade is going to come along which is going to clap you and take all your money.
Bram Botma said he went for the bigger account due to the accountability. I do feel that is good. If you're paying, say, for instance, 700 Rand for the account, you're not emotionally invested in it, and it is like you mentioned, where it's that accountability aspect, where you go for you'll go for home runs on your account and you get clapped.
John, I think that's a very fair point to go with it for.
Guys, I've got one more bullet left for the day. I'm going to take that last bullet on USD ZAR if we close back above. We've had multiple tests on the pivot then, and US 30 struggling to break the Asia highs. AD, however, is not on the buy side for me, so I'm not going to execute this. I would have loved to see a structure break that we're seeing currently here on Nasdaq, because the 80 was flipping bearish, but now again bullish to the buy side. If you look at the 80 right there, trading back above the 200, so no sells there for me. USD JPY as mentioned earlier in the session as well. 80 trading below the 200, just to show it to you guys there. The 80 never got back above the 200, therefore no buys, even though we are bullish technically on the day. Failure to hold Asia lows, and then also DXY currently trading below Asia lows, and I do think if we get something like this above, back inside of the Asia lows, and a retest and a hold of that level, we can see price going higher. But again, if we fail Asia lows, very likely we'll trade lower into NYSE later on today, but again, bullish on the day for me on DXY. We want to see gold to the downside. Obviously, we want to see it a little bit higher. I want to see 1900s being tested before the move lower. And USDs are literally getting pipped out there, but still, like I mentioned, bullish on the day. Should have actually waited maybe for the break above Asia lows, but it was worth a punt. So no harm done there, no foul. We take our shots as they come, and we don't get emotional about a loss. And then obviously we've got the pterodactyl formation forming here on gold, just waiting for that pop and lock. However, 35 minutes before the 4-hour closes, again, as mentioned, the previous 2 out of 3 days on gold, the 7 o'clock candle, we traded opposite to that, like we've marked out here. 7 o'clock 4-hour candle closed bullish, traded bearish the next. Yesterday bullish, traded bearish the next. Will today be any different? If we close bullish like this, can we get a break off this 4-hour high to then come lower on the next 4-hour? That unfortunately you'll need to find out in the next episode. And GU, as mentioned, I am bullish. However, we literally tapped into the daily pivot level. I would have liked for us to trade a little bit deeper into it. I wanted us to trade into it, and then I wanted to get a position as close as possible to these pivot levels. This was almost 10 pips away from it, so my ideal is I want to catch the move, I would say maximum 7 pips away from the pivot. Asia high is still being held. DXY is still ranging. USDs are still holding the pivot. Alert set, and we will wait. Geeks, is Javon not trading on his birthday? When are we getting that signal? J Riz. Just ask J Riz when he's sending that birthday signal.
Nah, he's not trading today. He's waiting for gold.
And yeah, I was licking my lips for that signal.
Yeah. He's busy building us the golden strategy.
For gold?
For everything. The strategy which will have the 100% win rate, which is unbeatable.
Yeah, that sounds very reasonable. That sounds completely reasonable.
You just put that on any trade, any pair, and you get to clap it. What's your name? Is Hart ever on the live?
Mm-mm.
Or does he join?
Hans said he's a far superior alpha to us beta males, and he's not gonna let us defile his alpha omen. No, I'm kidding. I've never seen Hein. Hein has never, if he's on, I don't know, he's never engaged in the chat. Should maybe follow up with Hein.
We're gonna sit him down, have a talk when he comes into the office later, especially when he doesn't bring out Seattle.
Yeah, we actually need to, before the Oaks come in, if there's no Seattle, no entry.
We're gonna put like a signboard outside. Looks like my gold trade is pips away.
Holy shit, dude, this range is literally, we've been sitting here for 2 hours watching a range. That is literally what we've been doing.
Oh, you say it like that, it doesn't sound that fun.
Dude, this, like we said yesterday, this is the hard part. Sitting here waiting for price to move. And USD JPY, literally from the Asia lows, has moved 13, 17 pips. USD ZAR has been in this range from 8:30 when the stream started. We took our buys there, got pipped out here. Gold 8:30 range. Boom.
Oh, that's it right there.
So Keegan is trading this 1895 key level. Is it a weekly key level or a 4-hour key level? Keegs, somebody was asking about.
It is a 4-hour key level, but it is also the Asia high.
So I think for the most part, Keegs is basing it off that we do expect some sort of retracement back to the 1900s. And it's also the Asia high. We've cleared Asia high quite impulsively. And now we've got this corrective structure coming down. And if we can hold Asia high with the 80 being bullish, high probability we can come and retest the daily pivot as well as the 1900s.
Yeah, also it will be the same area of rejection after that big sell-off yesterday, where the market did try to have a bit of a retracement that it got rejected in the same area. Well, hopefully this gold trade can move a little bit more. Then I mean they can probably see this trade amount play out live, see what happens. You know what, I think it would be pretty ironic that we called, what, 4 trades yesterday that all played out, and we didn't take any of them, and now we take 2 this morning and we get clapped.
Yeah, literally USD JPY just holding but just held. Yeah, we traded here from the pivot, daily pivot, close to the Asia lows. That ended up doing from there till the end of the day, moved 85 pips. Gold yesterday, I honestly thought you held, like you were in from 1904 here somewhere, and that moved about 30 pips up. But you caught the weekly S1 as well, 1900s. I know you.
Yeah, that's what I caught.
And then you missed your pending sells once you broke lower.
Yo, that was heartbreaking.
But other than that, guys, we are in a range. This, like I mentioned, I am bullish on the day on GU. Daily wick full targets at 12765. Just depends if you're willing to hold from these Asia highs. More than welcome to do so. Also mentioned GJ on the daily. How we closed at yesterday, we literally closed at the daily high. I told you guys, very high probability we can have a red day. Just showing everyone was on this buy train, so not considering any longs on this. It is so extended. I think if you've missed it lower, now is not really the opportunity to get long. And USD JPY as well mentioned, not looking for longs. And then USD ZAR, if we can get back above the Asia lows. We took a shot here on this engulfing candle right here, got stopped out here because I see Nick asking a question, have we had any trades? So Nick, only USD ZAR. As Hussein said, just do the opposite. Even if you did the opposite, you would have been at break even now. And I have mentioned in the disclaimer, you will lose money following what we say and do here. So just putting it out there. Nick asking why I'm trading USD ZAR. So Nick, it's actually been a pair that I've been monitoring and backtesting quite a bit and have had quite a bit of success. So no, it's not because the audience is from South Africa. It's actually a pair that I've added into my playbook, and for the most part it moves quite quick, and if you're wrong you're going to get stopped out quite quickly, and if you're right it's going to move in your favor quite quickly. So and also I don't think anybody really trades USD ZAR. I've never really seen traders trade it. However, there are times in the market where the spreads are really not great, so then I wouldn't execute, even though the setup is there, it's presenting itself. If the spread is not great, you can't really execute. But this morning the spreads have been good. Long GBP from where, Nick? Asia highs. I wanted buys from the weekly pivot, at 1278. I honestly would have just liked for it to come a little bit deeper and give me an opportunity closer to the weekly pivot here somewhere. But my bias is long. I have mentioned that. From Asia lows. Yeah, if you look at the 80, it was trading nicely above the 200. So if you got in during Asia session, Asia lows, very nice buy. So Nick is also on a stream, but he's a trader from the UK that I'm chatting with on Telegram. Nick, you've been trading for 15 years. We'll actually get him on the streams as well. So Nick has been trading 15 years if I'm not mistaken, but mostly a swing trader. So I've asked Nick, he's just a little bit busy, but we'll have him on the stream one of these days as well. Oh no, Jason, that's me taking a... No, I'm taking a squeeze here on US30, but it's not a high probability trade for me, so I'm not going to share it as an official trade on the stream. It is Asia highs, but I took a punt after we had this close right here to see if we can get a squeeze back up to the daily pivot at 34,890. And mainly due to the fact that we traded back into the Asia range, we had this rejection. Then from this high right here, we failed to create a lower low there, and then we basically broke up, and we've broken structure to the upside here. So once that candle closed there, I executed a long. But it's not, like I mentioned, when I'm buying, I don't necessarily want to buy from the Asia highs. I would like to buy from Asia lows, but yeah, no, it's not Keegan taking trades. I just entered and put in a stop loss and a TP. But let's see, the first obstacle would be the session highs right there, and if we can break through it, I do think we can see a nice move to the upside, but if we start failing there, I'll just move stops to break even.
Chris is just feeling a little bit risky there.
No, because my desktop audio plays through the stream, so you can hear the infamous you can hear the sound, that clap sound.
Oh, that's quite funny.
So Jason was like, Keegan taking some trades there.
Well, mine's like close to actually going in now. Like I'm like a pip away. Yeah, USD ZAR's the
the only other trade for me that I'll still execute on stream once we get a closure back inside the Asia range. Then we would also potentially see DXY coming back in there or reject again. But this is all just still range, to be honest. And 15 minutes for the 4-hour close, so you don't necessarily consider like the 4-hour closing. For instance, saying like the last 15 minutes of the 4-hour you won't execute. Keeks?
Yes and no. If, for example, I'm waiting for like a special closure over area, I'll wait for it because I want it to close above or below a support or resistance, for example. But something like this now, it's not really a key level in that aspect. So like now I wouldn't be bothered to enter if it was 5 minutes before the hourly close. But it would be interesting again, because I was actually looking at it, that 4-hour on call is going to close bullish once again. And it's actually pretty identical to literally yesterday. We had a very small candle at the bottom for 11 o'clock, a nice bigger candle in the middle, and then the third candle was a average bullish candle with a decent wick on the top and bottom. So we'll see what happens with the next 4 hour.
The thing is, it first broke that bullish 4-hour candle and then reversed. That's the interesting thing.
Well, but like we were saying, we are still expecting that retracement.
Yes.
So like we were saying, you can get out all those buyers, go all the way back up to, like we said, even 1900 flat, and then all that volume going to come in at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and push all the way down.
Hussein saying, Chris, you can re-enter at 1908. Yeah, it's very close to S1, but for the most part, the trades that work on USD ZAR, if you go back, it's usually Asia lows. So I wouldn't necessarily take the fade, but for instance, like Wednesday, here was your move very close to 8 o'clock when we traded below the daily pivot, broke the Asia lows and had a nice quick move to the downside. So once I get a closure back above Asia lows, I will be comfortable. And in gold, potentially what we can get is like the next 4 hour doing something like this, maybe either trading straight up from here and then reversing, or we're gonna first tap in from the Asia highs, come and break the session highs to then reverse. But other than that, USDs are only real pair that I think is a higher probability trade for me. And I'll take one more squeeze on it. This is hovering close to entry. So next candle, no top wick on this 5. Would want to see a break and a move to the upside. But a little bit of a set and forget on US 30. And then USD ZAR, want to see a break above. Let's see. Gold is squeezing, so there is a move coming very soon. As you can see, we basically squeezing into this corner right here. So do expect some sort of breakout or move. It's going to happen very soon. Very, very soon. And USDs are still in the range.
Literally just didn't get tapped in yet. but it's literally on my entry, so we'll see what happens.
As mentioned, if you are Jason Larkin, very in tune with my sounds. Yeah, luckily you don't hear us spamming trades. Like I've seen Oaks on Instagram and I wonder like how did I enter? Did I like open the buy button or sell button and literally just spam how much margin they've got left?
Yeah, I see those barcode entries.
Yes, dude. Honest question, how did I close all of those trades? That is something I want to know.
Well, that's my thing. Like when they're trading that, for example, and you're on a CPI event, I mean, once you get the spike, firstly, if you did get it in your direction, you want to close as soon as possible. Now, you can't tell me those guys are closing 200 trades all at their max amount of profits.
No.
But again, like looking at the dollar index, we are still in that Asia low. But as mentioned, we can see that big push is going to come in one of the directions. So this time, learning from the mistake from yesterday, we are just going to give the trade that time to breathe a little.
Are you in? Not.
Let me check, because it's on my entry, but because of
I think
spreads,
you
it
should
didn't
be
activate
in,
last time.
Oh no, not yet.
There I'm in now.
Okay, good luck.
So we are locked in, and let's see.
Okay, Swizzle in on 1895. DXY starting to break up. Let's see. I think this is going to be the key for now. Whatever happens here, that's going to determine the rest of the session. Either reject USD ZAR as well. That's where I'm going to shoot my last bullet for the day. Breakout like that. Last 5 minutes, 8 minutes before the 4 hour closes. GU coming back to Asia highs. GJ still at Asia lows. Laz, you want to pull in now? Stream's ending in like 5 minutes. We'll maybe extend it like 15 minutes on, but I'm definitely keen for a coffee. I think Keeks is also keen for a coffee. So 189 K
I
Pro.
never say no to coffee.
Yeah, 189 K Pro, pull in. Alright guys, Asia lows about to be breached on DXY. How's the 4 hourly closing on DXY? Let's have a look. Going to close bullish. However, we still have this room to fall to the downside. We are bullish on the day. As mentioned yesterday, around about the same time, 10:30, 11, we bottomed out. If you look at that 10:30, we bottomed out and started trading higher back above the daily pivot. We are still above the pivot. Are we going to see the same sequence of events unfold? Or are we going to get the bounce? Gold back at Asia highs. The idea would be for us to push away from the Asia highs. Let's see what we did yesterday. Tiny little bounce of the Asia highs. Asia highs then became resistance, and let's quickly go back. Okay, USD ZAR, let's have a look. About to also break out. If we are too close on this 4 hourly, what I'll wait is maybe for the first 15 minutes of the 4 hourly, so we could push up, pull back, create some support. Then I'm going to execute on the longs, mainly due to the fact that a 4 hour candle is going to do a pullback, and this ab roller candle up and down, not necessarily the best. Okay, USD ZAR. So let's lock it in here.
Yeah, so there we go. First bullet, and we are down for the day.
Are you out?
Yeah.
As mentioned, if you are trading patterns, we did mention that this pattern, if you go back on the stream, we said the lower highs, lower lows, usually a breakdown to the downside. But let's see, this 5 minute candle is yet to close in the next one, so it could push back into Asia and then come out of the Asia range. Let's see, because the thing on DXY is this pullback here could literally just be the retrace for it to come back outside of the Asia lows. So we'll monitor that for now, but USD ZAR, no closure above the Asia lows. GBP USD, holy shit, that thing literally went for... Is there GBP news now?
Not that I know of, there shouldn't be.
That thing properly tanked now, eh?
I was just, I had an alert on it that went off.
That thing tanked properly, like... Yeah, something happened on pound because pound yen's also getting clapped.
This is my, yeah, they're tough there.
But again, guys, if you go back on the stream, I mentioned the telltale sign for me on GJ was just the daily candle, and you can note this down for future reference. Very low probability if a bullish daily candle closes with little to no top wick. It is not a good sign. You want some range to trade into. So that is why this morning I said I don't necessarily like longs due to the fact that we had no top wick on that candle. It's also showing me that a lot of retail participants were in on the buys. Okay, so DXY, what we'll need to see now is if this is just purely a pullback for DXY to continue lower, what you will see is the next 5 will actually give like a bearish engulfing or a massive rejection candle to the downside, and this was just a deeper pullback. Or if we start holding the Asia lows, that this could be the low of the day, and then we'll start trading higher. GBP USD getting clapped. I just want to check what Euro is doing. If it's localized with... Okay, no, Euro not really getting clapped that hard. Guys, we're going to extend the stream, I would say, just for 15 minutes more, just to see where we close, potentially get an entry here on USD ZAR. 4 hour closed bearish, if I'm not mistaken, weak bearish, almost like an... yeah, still bearish again, no bottom wick. So this still needs to create a bottom wick, so no trade there for me. I would first wait for this 5-minute candle to drop lower, then we'll create a bottom wick on the 4 hour, and then if we get a structure break, I will consider that. Already 11 o'clock, so not necessarily too keen on taking any more trades. I spent my bullet on this trade here, taking the longs there. We had our stops literally at that low, but due to spread on this pair, it's got quite a big spread. Like you can park a small Miata between the bid and the ask. Like I think if it was any other pair, we would have still been in, but the spread is quite wide. I don't know what happened on pound. I can't see anything in terms of news. I just see there's some divergence between the BOJ and the BOE policy, so nothing there for me in terms. There's no news that came out unless you guys picked something up. I don't pick anything up, but yeah, those are the ideas for the rest of the session. Pound yen, I'll wait for today for the daily close. I think if you missed all of this bullish momentum to the upside for the last 2 weeks, now is not necessarily the time to get long. USD JPY, as I mentioned earlier as well, so we've had that expansion move to the downside. What you can potentially look for is if we start rejecting these Asia lows, you could go and retest the session lows, but other than that, not looking for anything long on this. We had longs yesterday from the pivot, which we closed out at break even. US 30 bearish on the day, mentioned that as well, bearish on the day, still expecting a pullback though on US 30. So daily we had this nice closure below the range yesterday. No, that was on Tuesday, closure back below the range, a nice little retest of that range, and then another bearish close. Nasdaq as well, looking on the daily. However, I did mention, very interesting to note, that after every 2 days worth of decline we went into a range. So let's just quickly take these pivots off for you guys to show you what I was looking at. So Nasdaq, 2 days decline, range, 2 days decline, range, and again we've had 2 days worth of decline. So very likely this could be a rangy day on US indices. Very likely we can get a range day. Gold, we mentioned the 4 hour. Where's my gold chart? My gold chart's supposed to be here. Let's quickly just go back to gold for a second. Gold failing to hold Asia highs. Asia highs sitting there. Let's see. Still some time to get back above the Asia highs. But again, interesting observation on gold 4 hourly. If you look at the previous 3 days, the 4 hourly candle that closes at 11, this one here, the next one closed bearish. Let me just zoom this in for you guys. Then the previous day as well, this was Wednesday, Tuesday, bullish close, bearish continuation, and I think it was only Monday where we had a continuation. No, that's last week, Thursday, Friday, even Friday. So Friday last week, bullish closure, next one closing bearish, and Monday worked out nicely. Tuesday was the range day, right? Yeah. So Tuesday was the only time where we just continued bearish, even though that was a bearish candle, did not continue bullish. So interesting, something we are going to backtest. We'll actually come back with some data next week. Other than that, guys, trade safe. See you guys tomorrow, Friday. Is it Friday tomorrow? Hectic week. The week flown by. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Trade safe, and nothing much for today. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Keegs, any closing remarks?
Yeah, guys, I think just again, be patient, be careful with the trades you take. Just don't rush them, don't just jump into something because you have FOMO or something. Let the trades come to you, and yeah, hopefully it's a blue day for you guys.
Sweet, guys, peace and love. There's USD ZAR. I don't execute on it. Maybe we'll get some type of retest. I'll execute from Asia lows, then try and take it higher. I did not execute on that candle purely due to the fact of the new 4 hour forming. So cheers, see you guys tomorrow. Trade safe.